Now let's talk about hybrid search, and this one is really popular. There are two options in which we can configure hybrid search. The first one is called federated search, and the other one is called cloud hybrid search, and it's enabled by the cloud search service application. So let me go, and let's actually, because before going and showing them to you, I really want to do some slides and uh, and actually show you, because I don't have both of them configured. I only have the new one, but I have some really cool mockups I did in PowerPoint. So first, let's start. What we're going to talk about in this search clip is going to be first a hybrid federated search overview, cloud hybrid search overview, and then we're going to look at what's the difference from a user experience as well as other considerations. So the hybrid federated search overview. Hybrid federated search is an option that is included out of the box in both SharePoint 2013 and 2016. However, if you're running SharePoint Server 2013, you need to install, I think, the May 2014 update, which you probably already have by now in order to get the best experience. In a hybrid federated search topology, both systems, and by systems I mean SharePoint on-prem and SharePoint Online, have their own index. So SharePoint on-premises has its own index of on-prem stuff, and SharePoint Online has its index with SharePoint Online stuff. And there are three possible topologies that we can configure. And I know when we talk about topologies, we think about the IT Pro, how do we configure it? I'll try to keep it as business level as possible, but I think it's important for you to see what are the different ways we can configure hybrid federated search. So let's take a look at how the architecture works from a 10,000 feet view level. So let's start with a business user that goes to on-premises Enterprise Search Center to search for a document. The Enterprise Search Center will then go to the query server on-premises, and the query server on-premises will query the index from on-prem, and we'll also talk to the query server online, which will go to the index, and then it will show us the results from both indexes in our Enterprise Search Center. So what are the topologies? The first topology is named a one-way outbound topologies. And you'll see when we talk about hybrid, we often talk about inbound and outbound. Just to give you a small tip is that we always talk inbound and outbound from an on-premises perspective. So when I say one-way outbound, it means that SharePoint Server on-premises is going outbound to SharePoint Online to get information. In a one-way outbound topology, SharePoint Server on-premises can query SharePoint Online. However, SharePoint Online cannot query SharePoint Server. So if a user does a search in SharePoint On-Prem, they will see both SharePoint Online and SharePoint On-Prem results. However, if they do a query on SharePoint Online, they will only see SharePoint Online results. Now let's talk the other way, inbound topology. So remember, inbound, it means that SharePoint Online goes inbound to SharePoint On-Prem to get the information. In a one-way inbound topology, SharePoint Server cannot query SharePoint Online, but SharePoint Online can query SharePoint Server. So a business user that does a search in SharePoint Online will see results from both SharePoint Online and SharePoint On-Prem, but a user who goes to SharePoint Server On-Prem would only see results from SharePoint On-Prem, will not see the results from SharePoint Online as well. The third and final topology is called the two-way bidirectional topologies. And I think this is pretty easy to guess. It means that it's a combined both outbound and inbound topology. So SharePoint Server can query SharePoint Online, and SharePoint Online can query SharePoint Server. So a user can go to both systems and see the results from both systems at the same time. So now that was the big overview of federated search. Now let's talk about cloud hybrid search. So cloud hybrid search is out of the box in SharePoint 2016. It's enabled in SharePoint 2013 as well, but you need to have the August 2015 public update or more. In a cloud hybrid search, you only have one index file hosted in SharePoint Online. So you only have one index file. You don't have an index file for on-prem and an index file for SharePoint Online anymore. You only have one index. However, the advantage of only having one index is that you can enable Office 365 only features such as Delve, for example. So let's look at the topology, and for this topology, let me start with the Cloud Search Service application, which is a new type of service application that enables hybrid search. So the Cloud Search Service application will crawl the data. The data can be SharePoint 2010 sites, SharePoint 2013 or 2016 sites. It can be BCS, it can be file shares, so you can crawl all that data. And then the Cloud Search Service application on-prem, instead of parsing the content and doing all that online, it will send the encrypted data to SharePoint Online, and that's where the content processing and the index will be stored. So then a user, for example, that goes to SharePoint Online Search Center, he does a query, and he will be able to see the results from both systems. So what is the user experience? What is the user experience and the differences between them both? If we look at hybrid federated search, in a hybrid federated search, and this is a mock-up because I don't have it configured right now in my lab. However, let's say, for example, you see you have a result block. And I'll see if I can do the laser pointer. Over here you have a result block that shows Office 365 results for SharePoint 2016 hybrid. So I have my result block of Office 365 results over here, and then the last three on the rest of the page are SharePoint on-premises results. However, there are some problems with the result blocks. First of them, you cannot really change pages. You cannot say, change page, show me more Office 365 results. You can only show 10 results at the same time. You cannot show more than 10. That's the limitation of the result blocks. And you cannot combine them. You cannot show the best result for the user. The other way to show results in a hybrid federated search is to have two pages. For example, you search for something, you have a page for SharePoint Server and another page for SharePoint Online. Again, it allows you to search for stuff, but it's not the experience that I think users are looking for. If we go at the Cloud Hybrid Search, which is the latest and greatest, it's supposed to make the experience a lot better. So here I have a mock-up of me searching SharePoint 2016 Hybrid in my on-premises search center. And as you see, there are no more result blocks. Since the index is now only in one place, you don't see a different page for results from the other systems either. In this mock-up, I have the first and last two results that come from SharePoint on-premises, while the middle two come from SharePoint Online. As a user, I can see the best results from my query wherever that result is from, and I don't necessarily know or care where that result is from. And I saw that a question got asked, and I tried to keep all the questions at the end, but this one is pertinent right now. And I think, let me see who asked it. Actually, Sharma asked it. How does the search access actual information documents presented in search results? It's all security trimmed. So exactly like on-prem, you only see what you're allowed to see. Both the search solutions that I showed you today are security trimmed. So if you don't have access to that document, you're not going to see the document in search results. It's all security trimmed exactly like on-prem. So back to the slides, I think the Cloud Hybrid Search is a lot better user experience. However, it's not all about user experience, right? It's all about, we have to take in consideration all the licensing and all the legal as well. So let's take a look at the new feature comparison between Cloud Hybrid Search and Federated Search. Both of them allow us to search content on both systems, which is cool. However, and this will answer a question as well, only the Cloud Hybrid Search allows you to use Office Graph or Delve, basically. You cannot use Delve with hybrid federated search, because why Delve works is because Delve is plugged into the SharePoint Online index, and with the cloud hybrid search, all the index is online. So that's why it works. It doesn't work with a hybrid federated search. And now let's talk about search customization comparison between SharePoint On-Prem and SharePoint Online. One of the problems with SharePoint, well, with the cloud hybrid search is that since the index is in SharePoint Online, we can only use the customization options in SharePoint Online because everything is there. So both on-prem and online, so we can use query roles and result sources. However, on SharePoint On-Prem, we also have a bunch of other stuff. Customized filters, partner characters, custom security trimming, site collection schema mapping, custom entity extraction, content enrichment web service. So in a federated search, online user would still be limited to the SharePoint Online capabilities. However, people that search for on-prem in the on-prem index for a federated search would still get the full search experience. With the cloud hybrid search, you're really limited at the customization options in SharePoint Online. Another thing that you need to consider, especially with the cloud hybrid search, and the reason why a lot of companies don't want to go to the cloud, is because they need to control where the data is stored. With a cloud search service application, or cloud hybrid search, you can indeed get cool features such as Delve with your on-premises documents, while the documents stay on-prem, which is really cool. However, having the index of your documents in Office 365 is technically like having all their content in the cloud. So are you legally allowed to do that? With hybrid federated search, both systems query each other, so the index of on-prem documents stays on-prem. So that's fine for legal reasons. However, with a cloud hybrid search option, all the index is in the cloud. Also, there are some price considerations, because we all say we want everything. However, we are all limited on a budget, right? So if we look at hybrid federated search, there is no extra cost, meaning that everything is included in the CALs and everything that you already pay. However, with the cloud hybrid search approach, you're limited to sending 1 million items per 1 terabyte of pooled SharePoint Online storage. And let's make sure you understand that you know what pooled storage is. At least right now, and it's always going to change, right now pooled storage equals 1 terabyte of storage that every tenant gets out of the box, plus 0.5 gigs per licensed user. So let me take an example with a company called Globomantics, which has 2,000 users. Globomantics would have 1 terabyte out of the box, and then half a gigabyte per every user. So that would be 1 terabyte plus another terabyte. It would make 2 terabytes. That means Globomantics would be able to send 1 million index items from on-premises to SharePoint Online. If Globomantics, for example, has 15 million items that they want to send from on-prem to SharePoint Online, then what they would need to do is they would need to buy extra storage. So they would need to pay for extra storage in Office 365 so they could send all this index from on-prem to online. However, excuse me, the on-prem, this limit is only for on-prem items that you send to online. All the stuff, all the items in SharePoint Online, there's no limit on that. There's no index limit of the stuff in SharePoint Online. The only limit is for stuff from on-prem that you push to the SharePoint Online index. Last but not least, licensing considerations. In a hybrid federated search scenario, hybrid federated search scenario, pure SharePoint on-premises custom users can only search SharePoint server content. And by pure on-premises, I mean users that don't have an Office 365 license. They have a SharePoint CAL, and they can still search their on-prem content. And users that also have SharePoint CALs and Office 365 licenses can search both systems, which is really cool. However, with Cloud Hybrid Search, since the index is in SharePoint Online, all your users need to have an Office 365 license because they need to be able to log in and be able to authenticate against their SharePoint Online to get items from that index. So it's something that you need to prepare, something that you need to budget, that if you're going to go the Cloud Hybrid Search route, all your users need to have an Office 365 license. So let me go to the demo and show you the Cloud Hybrid Search experience in Office 365. So let me go really fast. Let me go to sites over here. So I have search everything, and I'll open this in a new tab. You remember I had a document library with a bunch of SharePoint PowerPoint files. If I go here and I search for SharePoint, in the everything scope, you see that, whoops, everything not people. Okay, so you see that the first two results, look at the URL. You see about SharePoint.SharePoint.com. So that means that result is actually from SharePoint Online, and this one as well. However, if we look down a bit, you see now we have all our videos all our slides that we had on premises, and you can look at the URL again, SharePoint.LearnSharePoint2016.com. So that comes from on-prem. So as a user, I see results from both systems on the same page. I don't have result blocks anymore. I really get an integrated search experience. And a lot better, let's say I go to my Delve. Let me go to my Delve over here. Where is Delve? Delve. And it hasn't moved for a while, but usually right after it's scrolled or when it's fresh, you would see the documents in Delve. So for example, if I'm here, I search for SharePoint as well. In my Delve boards, you see I have stuff from the Learn SharePoint 2016 team site, which is online. And I also see all the boards from on-prem. So all the slides I added on-prem, I can see them in Delve. And what I can also do, let's say I take this one, and I think this one is actually done by Asif, yeah. Too bad that he left. I would have showed him that I love his slides. I will add Asif slides to my favorites. So I can add that to my favorites. So I'm adding an on-prem PowerPoint file to my favorites in Delve. And what I can also do, I can also add it to a board. So let's say I want to add it to a board. I have a board, I think it's called SPC. Or SharePoint, or is it another user that had them? I think I created the board with another user, but you see I have here an SPC 14 on-prem board, and from this board, I actually have on-prem content. So if I wanted, I could add stuff. Let's say or I have to log in with another user, but just to show you that you can add on-prem content and online content to boards in Delve. So even if your content is on-prem, you get Delve functionality, you get all these cool SharePoint Online features, you get them on-prem as well. You get them online with on-prem content. And you see, I can still see that, hey, this favorite document is popular in my organization. I can see when it got modified. I can see my favorite document. So I get all those cool features, even if my content is still on-prem. And also that even if you go online, on-prem, so let's say I go search, I think I have a search center over here, site search. And now I'm back on premises. You see I have SharePoint right here. If I remember correctly, I configured it. You can also from on-prem, you get the same experience. So you can also from on-prem, you can see the search results from SharePoint Online and from SharePoint on premises. So you get the same functionality. So users don't have to go to SharePoint Online to search. They can still search from SharePoint on-prem, and they can see all the online and on-prem stuff.